Well, today I'm going to talk about 5 reasons I love living here and 5 things that aren't so great about living here. So let's get started. Let's start with the bad ones first. Number 1, the heat. There's no way to beat around the bush here. This is commonly one of the first things we get asked, and it's an issue from June to September for sure. It gets pretty damn hot, and that's just how it is.
Pretty hot out there, isn't it?
Luckily, there's this beautiful invention called air conditioning. So everyone spends a lot of time in their air-conditioned house. They get in their air-conditioned cars, then they go to their air-conditioned office, and the minute they get home from, being in all that air conditioning, what do? They go to the pool or the beach. So if you're like me, you'll put up with the summer months to have those beautiful fall, winter, and spring months where you just love life because it's the perfect temperature. Number 2, the humidity. So if you're like my better half, then you might like to wear hats or put your hair up in a bun because your hair does not love the humidity.
It was so humid.
Now, this is only during the real heat of the summer, and like I mentioned before, it's a trade-off. I figure if it's glorious the rest of the year, I could tolerate dealing, with a little bit of heat during those summer months.
Fair enough.
Number 3, the bugs. So we're in a subtropical climate, which means we get some pretty scary looking bugs down here. Gnats in particular, those, the little tiny little flies. And there's also the no-see-ums. Those are the little guys you can barely see at all, hence their name. But I mean, they're like, invisible almost, like to the naked eye. And they bite you like mosquitoes. They're just no fun.
They've been biting me during the entire performance, and I had to just smile and act like it was part of the act.
And if you're close to the water, you're gonna have a lot more of these little bastards just flying around. So you're gonna have to load up on the bug spray. Jess swears by this brand Skin So Soft to repel all the bugs, but I, on the other hand, would just much rather sit in a screened-in enclosure, or what some people refer to as a lanai, so I don't have to worry about bug spray at all. And I can't forget to mention that we have palmetto bugs. Essentially, they're just giant cockroaches. A common misconception is that they only come around to dirty areas or come into your house because your house is filthy, but they're here. It's hot, it's humid.
I must say, it's a great pleasure to see you in your natural habitat.
The climate is just what it is. So if you live in lower Alabama, most people realize they need to have pest control or pest control service. And you might want to throw in a termite bond in there and some fire ant service in the mix too. Someone like Aero Exterminators will come out and they'll spray the outside of the house, put out bait traps for those termites, and spray some stuff that smells like syrup to get rid of those nasty little boogers. Unless you like having palmetto bugs or spiders. So yeah, that's just something you gotta deal with living in the South. Number 4 is parking at the beach. So most people complain about how hard it is to park downtown or how their big metro area is packed, but we have to worry about beach parking. And unless you're a Gulf Shores resident, you have to pay for parking if you're not in a designated parking area, because nothing's free anymore. So if you're lucky enough to find a parking spot and one that you don't have to pay for, just consider yourself lucky. Unless you're a veteran, then you can park at the Gulf State Park for free.
Pro bono, it's free.
You just have to visit the Gulf State Park office to get an annual pass. And if you're not a vet and you don't live in the beautiful Gulf Shores and you end up having to pay for parking, it's gonna run you about $5 for 4 hours or $15 for the entire day. Just, find the pay station and make sure you have a card, because they'll accept your cash, but they won't give you any change. Isn't that convenient? And number 5 of the things, we don't love about lower Alabama is that you need hurricane insurance. We do live in a hurricane prone area. I get that, but it's not like we're living in New Orleans or Florida where we're below sea level. Now, we can get some hurricanes, and even though we've only had a couple, a few in the last 20 years, when they do come around, you're gonna wish you had that insurance, especially if you're in close proximity to the Gulf Coast. So if you're gonna be buying a house and it's close to the water, you're gonna wanna check the FEMA flood zone map, because that's definitely gonna be added on to the cost of your monthly mortgage payment. That's for sure. So budget accordingly. Now let's move on to the things that I love about Mobile, or just Lower Alabama in general. And that's number 5 has to be the agriculture. I love walking around downtown where you can find those old historic buildings and looking at properties that can be 200 to 300 years old, or have an original cobblestone street or a cemetery in the backyard, along with these live oaks that just look picturesque. I don't know. They just have so much charm and so much architectural history. I personally love it. I like just walking around downtown and seeing the trees that are dripping with Spanish moss, looking over the Mobile Bay, or one of the many bodies of water we have. It's pretty scenic, and it's just a gorgeous sight to see in general.
Beautiful place you got here.
Number 4, Mobile is a very artsy town, and so is Fairhope. And we can't forget about the Coastal Arts Center of Orange Beach. Mobile has the Loda Art Walk that takes place on the second Friday of every month from 6 to 9 p.m. And there are a ton of people that come here, including tons of vendors, tons of people. It's just a really great time. And I like that even though we're in the South, which is, a fairly conservative area, we still got this really cool, artsy, fun downtown area too. Now, Fairhope also has the Eastern Shore Art Center that you can visit, but it also has one of the largest festivals down south. It's really a cool place to go and hang out, whether you're just coming to look at the art or to just check out the scenery. And last but not least is the Coastal Arts Center in Orange Beach. Here you'll find a waterfront campus offering art classes, demonstrations, and a gallery with local works on display. Number 3, the beaches. You thought this was gonna be number 1, didn't you?
You thought wrong, dude.
I love the beach, I'm not gonna lie. I love swimming in the water, I love jet skiing, I love parasailing, fishing on the beach, building sand castles, you name it, and I'm down. The kids love burying me alive on the beach, but I don't mind that because that's what it's all about. And from where I'm at, I can get to Dauphin Island and Mobile, or Gulf Shores and Orange Beach in Baldwin County in the same amount of time. And no matter which beach you go to, you'll love the food nearby. But I do have to say, if you go to a restaurant on Dauphin Island, I'll bet you it's gonna be cheaper than most of the places in Gulf Shores, if not all of them. And with that said, my number 2 is seafood. So we've got a million restaurants around here that have killer seafood. If you've never had the pleasure of trying Royal Red Shrimp, you need to right now. I promise you, you won't regret it. And the number 1 reason, the one y'all been waiting for, is that I love living here. It's affordable, beautiful weather, beautiful people, you're near salt and fresh water, all the thriving local businesses, the wholesomeness. I can go on for days, but I'll just say I've moved a lot in my life, and I've lived in more places than most, a lot of different states and a few countries. I've literally lived all over the place. So I feel like I've gotten to experience a lot of different areas over the course of my life. And what I love about Mobile, or Lower Alabama, is that it's really affordable. Living here is not like you're in the city, but it's also not like in the middle of nowhere where you feel like you don't have anything to do, or you've got to drive 4 hours to go to the mall because you need to buy something for your wife for her birthday, or for Christmas. We're a small little area, but we are growing. We have a lot. Baldwin County is the fastest growing county in Alabama, and Mobile is really changing for the better. We've got the airport coming to downtown, along with Brooklyn by the Bay going up. We've got trains coming in from New Orleans and the Port of Mobile. We really have a lot going on. The city and county of Mobile just recently agreed that they'd each contribute $10 million over a decade to Airbus, one of the biggest employers in Mobile. And $20 million is nothing to bat an eye at. Luckily, Mobile knows that sometimes it takes money to make money. And if you don't want to live in Mobile, that's fine too, because we've got some great areas surrounding Mobile. So either way, you're gonna have options. Do you wanna live in a little cottage by the bay, or do you wanna live in a historical colonial home downtown where you can just walk everywhere? Or do you wanna live in a big fancy gated community and never have to deal with solicitors because they can't get into your neighborhood? Or in the country where you can have chickens and roosters, you know, waking you up at the ass crack of dawn and go out there and just shoot your guns whenever you want to. I mean, you have it. You have it all. I personally prefer the suburban utopia where, you know, you can picture a white picket fence and kids running around the neighborhood with the dog in the backyard. I mean, even if you bought a mansion on the beach in Gulf Shores, I guarantee you it's going to cost a lot less than it would in Fort Myers or Laguna Beach or any of those other places. You can buy a condo here that faces the ocean for around $300,000. Now, it won't be a mansion, it won't be huge, but it's definitely going to be a lot more affordable than those places. So now you know all the reasons why I love Lower Alabama and a few things that aren't so perfect about our little slice of heaven. But come on, every place has its pros and cons. So if you're thinking about moving to the South, look no further than LA. So give us the #1 relocation team in all Lower Alabama a call, and make sure you like and subscribe for more videos like this. See ya.